All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, and all peace and salutation to the Akim and to the elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of this earth, pushing this truth, in faith and sincerity. I'm Brother Shemar Allah from the Houston camp, and today this lesson is going to be about, the Israelites, all right, and how that the Israelites, according to prophecy, that they were going to forget who they were as a people, who they were as a nation. All right, they were going to forget their heritage. All right, but then later on, they were going to start remembering themselves. The Most High was going to start giving them their heritage back, all right, after a certain period of time. All right. So without further ado, I want to get straight into it. I don't want this to be a long lesson. All right, so this is Jeremiah 17:4. It says, "And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue," all right, which means to be cut off from thine heritage, all right, which our heritage, all right, that represents our land, our language, everything about us. All right, everything about us was forgotten. That's why we call ourselves African Americans, Mexicans, Latinos, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, all right, because our true nationality, which are of the 12 tribes of Israel, all right, were cut off from us. We forgot those things. All right. It says, "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not." All right, and our biggest enemy is Esau, Edom, so-called white man. All right, he's been our enemy, since the womb. All right, when you go back to the story of Genesis 25th chapter, all right, when Isaac, all right, and Rebekah, they were giving birth, all right, to Jacob and Esau. All right, but in the womb of Rebekah, they were battling each other. They were fighting, all right, because they were enemies. All right, so we're serving that enemy today, all right, in the land which we knew not, all right, which is talking about America. All right, it says, "For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever." All right, which is forever, just means a long period of time. All right. But this is Baruch 2:29. It says, "If you will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations where I will scatter them. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it's a stiff-necked people." Yeah, Israel is a hard-headed people. All right, they don't want to listen to the word. They don't want to hear what the Heavenly Father had to say through the mouth of his prophets. You can read about that in Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. All right. It says, "But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves." All right, the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. The Israelites, wherever they were, all right, because in the curses, Deuteronomy 28:64, I'll get it right here. It says, "And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people," all right, all nations, from one end of the earth even to the other. All right, so all over the world. "And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." So they were going to be scattered amongst these different nations all over the world, all into their different religions, all right, sacrificing and praying unto these different gods that are no gods, that don't exist. All right, but it says, going back to Baruch, it says, "But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves." So wherever we are scattered, all right, we're going to start remembering who we were. All right, and the main place where most of Israel resides is America. All right, all 12 tribes are over here. All right, and it says that, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves." It says, "And shall know that I am Yahweh their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear." All right, so the Most High was going to give us an heart and ears to hear, meaning that he was going to give us the mind, all right, because heart in the Hebrew is lab, all right, which means your mind. So he was going to give us the mind and the ears, all right, to understand this truth, all right, to know what these scriptures are saying, all right, because we didn't know what the Bible was talking about beforehand, all right, before we came into this truth, or before we heard it, or before we got the breakdown from the apostles and elders, a great millstone through the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, we didn't know. The Most High had to open our mind, open our understanding for us to get it. All right, because there's going to be certain Israelites that are not going to have their mind opened, all right, and their ears to hear or be given ears to hear. All right, you can read about that, Isaiah 6, all right, 9 on down. It says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. Yeah, we doing that today. We're thinking upon the Most High's name, which is Yahweh, the true name of the Most High. Any other name you have ever heard, all right, is not his name. All right, because people like to say Ahiah, Yeshaya. You read Exodus, the 3rd chapter, all right, when he gave his name to Moses, he clearly said, my name is Yahweh. All right, he said that his name was Yahweh. All right, it says, and think upon my name. It says, in return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, all right, being a nigga in the world. All right, what I mean by being a nigga, basically anything that's contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments. Adultery, robbing, stealing, killing, smoking, homosexuality. All right, fucking having threesomes and, man, all types of abomination. All right, that's basically being a nigga. All right, not conducting yourself by the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, no discipline, no control, no self-control. All right, just out of control in this world. All right, you ain't living by nothing. You ain't living by a standard. All right. It says, in return from the stiff neck and from the wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers was sin before the Lord. All right, so it said we're going to remember the way of our fathers. All right, which was the way of our fathers? All right, they governed themselves by the law, statutes, and commandments. They followed the law, statutes, and commandments, and they took it very seriously. All right, this is Jeremiah 18 and 15. All right, because we forgot those ways. Like I said in Jeremiah 17 and 4, we forgot the way of our fathers. All right, it says Jeremiah 18 and 15, because my people have forgotten me, they have burned incense to vanity, and they have caused them to stumble in their ways from the ancient paths, to walk in paths in the way not cast up. All right, so our people start following these different nations, start worshiping these different idols. All right, and they forgot, all right, the ancient paths, And another way they forgot the ancient paths, if you during the time of Antiochus, all right, Epiphanes, all right, he pushed that Greek way upon us. He forced it upon us. All right, and that's another way we got Hellenized. All right, that's another way we forgot our heritage. It's another way we forgot the ancient past. All right, but now we're starting to remember those things. It's like I said in Baruch, Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus said Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. All right, but this is what we doing. We standing in the ways and we asking for the old paths. Where is the good way? All right, and we found the good way. All right, and we're remembering those paths. All right, because if you read like Romans 11 and 7, Israel had not attained it, that which is seeking for, but the elect have attained it. All right. Deep down, like in the world, deep down in my mind, we were seeking for the truth. Right? We wanted to know who was our power. All right? We wanted to know what the truth was. All right? And we found it. We found the good ways. All right? Our spirit was asking for the old past. All right? And the Most High gave it to us. All right? This is Psalm 15:21. It says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. Yeah, that was talking about Esau. All right, it said, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest I was altogether such as one as thyself, because Esau has been judged for the things that he have done to the children of Israel. All right, for all the wickedness that he's committed in the earth. So he thinks the Most High is on his side. But this is what he said, but I will reprove thee. He's reproving them by the prophets. We're exposing this man and telling him his judgment. It says, and set them in order before thine eyes. So we are being set in order, all right, because we had no order at first. All right, which means we are being governed by the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, we're coming back to who we are. All right, We're conducting ourselves in righteousness. All right. So, and this is a part of that order as well. The part of that order is us getting our language back as well. All right. Zephaniah 3:9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent. He turned to us a pure language, which that pure language is Lashawan Kodash. All right, a holy tongue. All right. So the Most High gave us that language back. All right, because his name, Yahweh, all right, and his son's name, Yahweh Shah, that's in the Lashawan Kodash. That's the Hebrew. All right. It's a whole page created by the apostle. I believe it's the apostle Ramlab created the page, Lashawan Kodash. All right, and you can get on there. You can learn all the Hebrew. So the Most High gave us the language back. All right, and this is Isaiah 44:5. It says, one shall say, I am Yahweh, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh, and shall name himself by the name of Israel. So it says the Most High gave us his name, or gave us this pure language that we may be able to call upon his name, because his name is in the Hebrew. Then it says that one shall say, I am Yahweh, and call himself by the name of Jacob, and shall name himself by the name of Israel. Meaning we're going to start giving ourselves Hebrew names. All right? Because we were given names, all right, based upon, from our oppressor, all right, slave names. They go back into slave masters. All right. These, the names that we are given are not in the Hebrew. All right. We're supposed to have Hebrew names because we are Hebrew Israelites. All right. So we are calling ourselves by different Hebrew names. All right. That's also a part of us remembering ourselves and being set in order. Just those things were forgotten, but now it's coming back onto us. Like the Most High said, he's going to give us an heart and ears to hear. All right, so he's giving this all back unto us. All right, which shows you that the Jews or the Jewish in the land today are not the true people. All right, because they haven't forgotten anything, and they aren't remembering themselves in the land of their captivities. All right, they're living good right now. So, that's really the lesson, with that was give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chagadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, and peace and salutation to the Akim, and to the elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of this earth, pushing the truth and faith and sincerity. Shalom.